Welcome to Hybiz News. My name is Suresh Kochatil. The impact of COVID-19 business has been felt on every sector, and the MSME sector has taken the maximum hit. But what does the sector foresee, and what is the road ahead for these units? To discuss this, we have with us today Sri Mahender Reddy, President, Confederation of All India Small and Medium Pesticide Manufacturers Association, and Vice President of South India MSME Joint Action Committee. Thank you for speaking to us at Hybiz News, Sri Mahender Reddy. Let me start by asking you, how has the industry in Telangana been impacted by this lockdown?
Impact of the lockdown, people originally it was up to April 14th. People thought that 21 days lockdown we may come back without any problem, but now extending again up to May 3rd, now it has people are feeling a very problematic in the lockdown period. Especially the finance matter is concerned, RBI has given a certain guidelines for giving a moratorium on the working capital as well as the term loan. But most of the banks are not obeying the guidelines of the RBI. Some banks, especially private banks, are not even given the moratorium of the interest. They have debited the interest on 31st March, but they are not. They are saying that they will recredit the amount, but till now, as on 24th, they have not recredited the account. And there is no business. It is very difficult for the industries, especially MSME sector, to make the payment of the salaries of the workers as well as the employees. It is very difficult, and also they have given the working capital moratorium also, but the term loan moratorium, but that is also not, banks are not obeying the, especially nationalized banks like SBI has accepted the RBI guidelines, but no other banks have accepted the guidelines of the RBI. And another thing is EMI is part of it. EMIs, term loan EMIs, as well as the other EMIs, property EMIs, as well as vehicles EMIs. Many people are facing a problem because EMIs, again they are asking interest on interest. They are giving a 3 months this thing, again they are asking them to make the payment on June at a time. That will be difficult for the industry to make the at a time. For a 2 months lockdown, there is no business, there is no problem, there is no this thing. That's why it is very difficult for the industry to make the payment.
Apart from the financial measures announced by the union government and the steps proposed by the government of Telangana, are there any specific things you expect from both union and state government?
Our expectation, especially MSME industry and enterprises, most of the industry and enterprise are contributing to the ESI, Employees State Insurance Corporation of India. Those people are having a lot of funds, plenty of funds are there. As per the rules of the ESI, if anybody applies for a sick leave, they make a payment, 50% of the payment of salary to the employees, those who are contributing under ESI. But present circumstances till today, the ESI have not come forward to make the payment of any of the, this is a lockdown is also, it is a natural calamity and it is almost a sick leave, and they can consider a sick leave, they should come forward and make the payment of the 50% of the salary to the employees as per the rules of the ESI, and remaining 50% if companies also may make payment to make workers satisfaction, they can make another 50% so that workers will not have, employees will not have any problem for this thing. Another thing is PF, whatever the government of India, Labour and Welfare Ministry announced the scheme, that will not be helpful for any one of them. 95% people will not get the benefit out of this. They have put a 90% of the condition, that 90% of the condition is the employees who is contributing to the PF, out of that 90% should get in a 15,000 gross salary, then only they are eligible for a PF payment by employer's payment will be done by the PF department. That is totally around 8 crores of the enterprises only 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh people may be getting a utilization of this PF payment by the PF department. So that is not at all useful under any circumstances, and this is this condition, if they wipe out, they remove it, it will be useful for them. And this thing is, they should waive the PF for 3 months. Instead of just making again payment, they can waive the payment of the PF. That will be better for everybody.
Thank you, sir. What, according to you, will be the business outlook once the lockdown is eased and units get back to work?
After lockdown, there will be a lot of this thing will be there. It will be depending upon especially migration of the migrant labor. The total industry is depending upon the migrant labor. People are working from the Bihar, Orissa and different other places. Local people are very less people are working in the industries. And the migrant labor who have already, most of them have left their places, coming back to work. It may take, after lockdown is lifted also, coming and working in the industries, it may take another 1 month, 1.5 months. And it is not an easy for getting a new labor and getting it done. It is very difficult. Especially Telangana labor is not coming up and coping up with the industry's requirements. And another thing is raw materials is going to be a big problem. Raw materials availability, because other suppliers of the one industry will depend on other industry will depend on another industry. So one requirement, we have to depend on other. There also, if they don't start the production, getting a raw material to another factory is going to be another problem. That also it will take 1 month. And transportation, getting the raw material transportations also, it is very, very difficult. Even if they start, after that also, if they make a payment, order the materials, getting the raw materials also is a problem. And another thing is finance. Finance part is now, right now, if anybody requires any material, they may ask them to clear the old outstandings. After clearing the old outstanding only, they can supply the new materials. And our old outstandings, clearing the old outstanding, he has to get the money from the market. Market is also, everybody knows, markets also is a big problem. Others also should get in a market. So this circle, without having a finance, they may ask, the suppliers also may ask on cash and carry. You make the cash and clear the outstandings, as well as you make a cash and carry. So unless the government comes and rescue with the industry, and it is very difficult to overcome of this lockdown. After the lockdown lifting also, there will be a lot of problems. The government should come forward and make a finance in easy way. At present, the government of India has said 10% on the existing working capital, they can give an ad hoc limit. But most of the banks are not coming forward to give the 10% of the ad hoc working capital. Most of the banks, especially private banks, nobody has come forward to give the 10% of that. This 10% will not be sufficient. It should be more than 25 to 30% if they give the ad hoc working capital without any, just with the application, and they can take back that ad hoc limits after 6 months in six equal installments. For example, the 60 lakhs if they are providing a ad hoc working capital. So 60 lakhs after October till March, every month they can reduce in the limits around 10 lakhs. It will not be a burden for the industry. It will be very useful. If the finance is there, then it will come into the normalcy. It will take another 2 to 3 months after lockdown is lifted. Till that time, it is very difficult to come back with the present system.
What are some of the business lessons that we have learned from the lockdown?
Business, it is very difficult to understand the present situation, and we have, especially the MSME sector, the last 2 years business is not up to the mark. The people are not having a margins like what earlier used to be there. Now people are with the 5 to 10% margin, people are working it. If the outstandings are not coming, then that 5% also will be gone. So total their properties, everything will be with the banks. banks, mortgage banks, they will not have any, for bringing additional capital, it is difficult to get the additional capital by the MSME sector. Maybe large people, maybe they may get it from outside, and whatever the banks, RBI given the guidelines, the RBI given this financial repo, reducing the repo, and they may getting the huge money in the banks, but they may give it to the big people. They may not come forward to the giving to the small people, because last so many years we are seeing the experiences. They give to somebody like a big companies, and they may lose. One fellow if doesn't make the payment, the total bank will be collapsed. But here, instead of coming to the MSME, they will search for one of the big industrialists, and the total money they will give it to those people. That is the big problem in the Indian banking system. So that as a businessman, we are facing, this is an unexpected lockdown, and now the government of India's restrictions, today only it has come in the newspaper, that though no FIR will be filed on the people if there are any corona funds in the employees of the after lockdown also. So till yesterday everybody was fearing that any employees get a corona, and first they will file an FIR and a CEO of the company. So who will interested to open the industry and have a FIR and going to the police station, all these things, it is going to be a big problem. So that's why nobody will come forward. Yesterday, today's newspaper, after seeing that one, at least some people have thought to opening the business. So business, it is very difficult under these circumstances for doing the business, and already people have exhausted the money, and their properties are mortgaged to the banks, and they will not have any additional properties to collateral, give it a collateral and take the money. It is so the government of India and the state government should come forward and rescue the industry, then only it will come into the normalcy, or otherwise it is difficult. After the lockdown, certainly there will be changes. It will not be same as earlier. As I already told, the raw material is going to be a problem, migrant labor is going to be a problem, and it will take another 2-3 months to come into the normalcy. Till that time, it will not come into the normalcy. Immediately, it will not be same as earlier, because already 3 months have lost, and you see Telangana government, and they have fixed charges without using the power also. The industry has to pay the fixed charges to the electricity department without using a single energy unit. They have to make the payment fixed charges. The government has given March, April fixed charges. You can make it in the month of May. How can they make the fixed charges in the month of May? 2 months. They should give a complete waiver of the fixed charges for 3 months, 3 to 4 months, because they are not using almost 2 months. They are not using the electricity charges. Why should they collect it? So how can it be same as it is? It is 100%. It will not be same. It is going to be big issues will be there. So many issues will be there. And today we are not able to see because once it is opened, then only we come to know exactly what will be the situation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much on that. Experts say some things will not change after Corona. Do you agree? And if yes, what are the things which will not go back to normal as it was before?
Unemployment, definitely it will be there, because as long as the industry comes to last production levels, the people will definitely lower the employees. So employment definitely not as expected, people will be employed, and it is going to be drastically, it will be reduced, and another 3-4 months it will take for getting in that stage. If you have a sufficient finance, then only the employment situation also will increase. Or otherwise, if that doesn't have money, how can they run the industry? How can they take just like that, without making any productions, without making anything, taking the employee? It is very difficult to cope up with the circumstances. So definitely the finance is required to come to the normal stage. So at least 3-4 months there will be a problem of employment. People will be, most of them may be unemployed. So we have to see and take the decisions accordingly.
So how do your company, I think your company is going to the agriculture sector.
Ours is agriculture. Ours is agriculture-based products. We already started our production. The government has given a 50% of the employment, 50% force only. We should run the industry. So out of that, people are not coming because of the fear in the minds of the employees. So if, for example, my factory 60 people are working, so I have made an application for 40 members. Some of them Bihar labor, 20 people, 30 people, Bihar labor are already left, so they are not in our place. So we have made an application for 40 people, then they have given a 20 people, but 10 people only coming into the industry. So to come, maybe their families may not be allowing to them to work. So many other, and we are also, why we should take a risk when the government of India is going to file a cases if any untoward incidents happens. So that's why everybody is in the fear psychosis. So people are also not coming forward. And our agriculture season starts from June 15th onwards. We have to position the material at least from May end onwards. If we position the material only, then only sometimes any pest incidents occurs, there will not be materials available in the market. So that's why people have to position their material at least by June 15th. So we don't know whether May 3rd will be going to be lockdown period is over, or they may be extending to May 30th. So definitely after May 30th, till May 30th it continues, then it is very difficult to come into the season requirements, and major problems will be there. And majority of the industries, even raw material suppliers also, their factories also started but with a limited force. They are also not running with the full requirements. So it is very difficult. It is not going to that easy what we are expecting. Today in the lockdown of total country, small and micro industries or micro people are affected very much. Especially micro people, they will not have a banking facilities. They will not, maybe they may not be contributing to the ESI, PF, because there are less than 10 people may be working in the small enterprises, micro enterprises, and they cannot approach the bank for a finance. They will not be in the PF and ESI. Even if ESI, PF comes in to the rescue of the employees' salaries also, these micro industries are not going to get a benefit out of that. So micro industries, especially the government of India and state government, other especially banks, they must come forward to encourage the micro industries. Then only these micro industries will the suppliers of the small and medium industries. There may be small vendors will be there. They may be supplying a small parts, small lathe machine parts, something like that. That will be useful in the small industry as well as the medium industry. If these people doesn't work, if these people doesn't have a finance to work, then it will be raw materials also problem will be there in the small and medium sector. So micro industries also to be looked after very well in this situation, and they must, how the government of India should come out and provide certain bailout programs to the micro industries. This is my view.
Shri Mahender Reddy, thank you for giving us a comprehensive view of the problems being faced by the MSME sector and the road ahead. Thank you for watching.